You have a KG executive assistant. You've got a VP of red tape, VP of fear, VP of status quo, VP of skepticism. The director of paperwork reports to the VP of red tape. The director of vacillation and the director of hesitation report to the VP of fear. The directors of inaction and the director of overthinking report to the VP of status quo. And your directors of more data and director of suspicion report to VP of skepticism. This is 99% of all businesses on the planet. This is how they operate. Another word for this that was developed actually by the Japanese, it's called silo management. Silo. Okay, you have a silo, and when you can't figure it out, you want to throw it into his silo. And when you can't figure it out, you want to throw it into his silo. Most big corporations operate under silo management. You didn't learn that at school, did you? I'm sure you didn't. Okay? This is why, for people that have been out in the real world so long, adapting QLA is so tough. Because you've got all these fact patterns that are bad. Most people that come here, save a few world-class athletes, have fact patterns. And that's how you manage big organizations, but the fact patterns are all wrong. And the few habits they have, for example, taking a break. I didn't even know you had breaks. But now in an 8-hour shift, you get 2 breaks or more? 3. Fuck. And are they 10 or 20? What are they?
10 to 15 minutes.
To do what? No, I mean, these aren't bathroom breaks. These are breaks to just rest or not do anything, right? In the old days when I worked in a big company, Bear Stearns is a big company, they used to call them, they used to congregate at the water cooler. They used to talk about water. You go to and they had water coolers, you know, and that's where the coffee was. But nobody ever stood around there 10 or 15 minutes. You pour yourself a glass of water or a cup of water or you got an instant coffee and you went back to your fucking desk. And growing up, or in my initial works stations, so to speak, when I got out of school, when I came back from the military, you ate lunch at your desk. And you used to come to work 20, 30, even an hour before your shift started when you were supposed to work, and you normally stayed 30, 40, 50, an hour after. And I don't know the excuse. Part of the reason is you wanted to beat traffic getting to work, and you didn't want to fight traffic going back to work. But a result of that is that you worked 2 or 3 extra hours, which you didn't get paid for. And putting in for overtime, you were a wuss. At the Amazon culture, which is one of the articles I sent you to read before you came here, 80 hours to keep a week. 80 hours a week to keep your job, 85 hours to be considered for promotion, and normally 90 hours a week to get a promotion. And that's not a company policy, because that's not what the company policy says. That's not what the human resource policies say. That's enforced by the peer pressure of the employees at Amazon. And if you put in for overtime, you know, they don't do a blanket party in the military where they come at night and they put a blanket over you and everybody kicks the shit out of you. Well, they don't do a physical blanket party, but they do a verbal blanket party. And so the pressure is on. It's similar at Elon Musk's companies, and it was similar like back in the day with the guy, the biggest asshole of all time that you saw last night, and Henry Ford and Vanderbilt and all these guys, and Rockefeller. And the reason this still exists today is because somebody at the top isn't making everybody accountable. And for those of you that are in marketing and sales, I said it, I think, the first day, I used to, when I came to work, and I was normally one of the first ones there, I didn't ask him, did we do any business yesterday? I want to know how much fucking sales we made. How many sales, not if we made sales. And of course now, I monitor the stuff, you can monitor it hourly. And when you start making people accountable on some level vis-a-vis the reports you're going to get to turn into me, any of your employees, I guarantee you, people will quit. People there 25 fucking years will quit. And you won't have to fire them. Most of you run gravy trains. Most of you run country clubs. Everybody know what a gravy train is? Everything. I'm okay. No responsibility, no accountability. Whatever you do is okay, and whatever I do is okay. Back to that book, I'm okay, you're okay, that was written in 1968-69, which I believe was the beginning of the downfall of corporate world and the true beginning, the cutting edge of political correctness. You can do whatever the fuck you want, and what that book really says is that I want to like you and you want to like me, and so we're just going to fit in, and we're not going to make. They used to say, "Don't make waves," and I've made waves ever since when I was a dunce in the corner being called retarded. I was making waves, and they used to say, of course, now it sounds inhumane to some people that they would put me in a closet and I shit my pants and they wouldn't let me go to the bathroom. Well, I guess it is. I never thought of it as inhumane, but I guess it is. Of course, now there was a lady about 3 months ago that kid in the 4th grade, how old was that? Maybe 7 years old, something like that, wanted to go to the bathroom and he peed in his pants. And so the teacher made him put, how the big trash bags, those plastic trash bags, made him put a trash bag on and tied it at the waist. And it made CNN. There's another story. You're going to get these slides. There's another story, not a story, a true thing. In the South, in someplace, Alabama, someplace, a black teacher, secondary school teacher, junior high school teacher, beat up a kid for being a smart mouth. Didn't send him to the boys' vice principal or whoever. Just kicked the shit out of him. And you can't find it on CNN. Now, if that had been a white teacher beating the shit out of a black student, they'd be marching with placards, okay? But some of the kids, I'm getting off on a tangent. Some of the kids, I believe with all my heart, need to get the shit kicked out of them, okay? And now they can't. But this is either directly or indirectly how you've been taught. Obviously, they don't call them that. But every organization has got a skeptic. That can't work. Right? Every organization let's not make waves, status quo. And your parents, and hopefully not your grandparents, and that's where they worked. But the days of working 40 years for British Telecom or IBM and getting a watch at the end of 40 years are gone. They're gone. Yet, many of the established rules and regulations are still lingering on, even if they're not in written form. And that's why when you go back, they're going to think that you're crazy. Yesterday, the quick cricket that England won the world at Lourdes, they didn't give up, right? And it could have gone either way. Same in Wimbledon. Neither Roger nor Djokovic gave up. And the reason why we have such a high death count in this program is because the kids give up. They just give up. They decide, not externally, but internally, well, I don't want it that bad. They don't want it that bad. And, or just below that, they, like the kid, the example I gave you, the Olympian, I'm going to go to the Olympics, but he didn't win any medals. But just to go to the Olympics is a feat, extraordinary feat. But I would think that, why wouldn't you want to get a medal? All that effort, all that, we know that. Before we get into the movies, we're going to show you today two different systems to make it to the Hall of Fame. The spreadsheeting guy and the non-spreadsheeting guy. This is the spreadsheeting guy. Pay close attention, meathead. Okay. To put his board together, he spent 600 hours doing research for qualified board members. 600 fucking hours.
This is just for one deal?
No, this is to get to the Hall of Fame. Okay. He spent 600 hours. He looked at over 1,000 qualified individuals. He sourced board groups, linked fuck, American, I forget what that ACHE stands for, and personal contacts. He had 300 professional interviews. Okay, Nigeria's already sick to his stomach. I mean, he's about to pass out, okay? Now this is right down your alley, boy. This is right down your goddamn alley, okay? He found 7 strong core professionals. I mean, I could have retired with $1 billion by the time I did all this work. Okay, and but this is one methodology. It took him a long time. But he was a spreadsheeting son of a bitch. And you can get to the Hall of Fame being a spreadsheeting son of a bitch. It just takes you a lot longer. Now just think of that, 600 hours search. And you're just pushing off, procrastinating. You don't think of it that way because you think you're really doing shit. It's just like you've been led to believe, like the kids on YouTube have been led to believe, that reading a book, listening to a podcast or whatever is taking action. And it's not. The only thing that's really taking action is pulling the trigger. And that's why, there's thousands and thousands of books that have been written since Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich, which took him 20 years to write, and conveniently, Andrew Carnegie was already dead. I went to interview 500 people. Now we're not sure he interviewed anybody. But I would interview 3 or 4 people, figured out what the traits were, and I would have written the book. And I wouldn't have named it Think and Grow Rich. I would have said, don't think and get rich. Just pull the fucking trigger. But we've got, 4 generations that have read that book. It's a great book. I'm not defaming it at all. It's a great book. But the guy took 20 years to build his model. And so subconsciously, 20 years. Now 20 years is a generation. Just to write a goddamn book? Now we have other people that have taken 40, 50 years and they write their memoirs, but that's not what I'm talking about. But so this is a method. I show it to you not because I recommend it. I show it to you, but even spreadsheeters that don't know any better can get to the Hall of Fame doing it this way. Now, last night, you saw the lone survivor guy who was the SEAL team guy, the only guy, and listened to him. And the gist of that is they never gave up. They didn't cry, they didn't whine, and that's just, that's the business they were in. Which is going to be the antithesis, not the antithesis, but almost the antithesis of everybody that comes through the program doesn't think that way. Yes, sir.
He's got a great podcast, Marcus. He's got a podcast called Team Never Quit. He interviews people that never quit, people that have gone through hell.
Yeah, but you're not even going to go through hell. See, Jocko's a great guy, but I don't know why anybody listens to him. That's not what you're doing. He's a great guy, but I don't know why anybody listens to him. What in your life has anything to do with being chased down by 600 Taliban and all your team getting fucking killed? Nothing. I mean, give me a fucking break. You do it to procrastinate. You want to live vicariously through some great war heroes, and Jocko was one. But what the fuck's that got to do with making a fucking cold call? Nothing. Absolutely. But it fills your day. And when you start keeping track, it's going to be a sobering fucking experience. For some of you, it's going to be a religious experience. I mean, literally. We've turned people to the priesthood from this thing. Well, this shit ain't for me. Literally. We've turned people to become fucking nuns from this fucking deal. This shit ain't for me. When I say that at least, When you leave here, you never have to read another book, nothing. You're all going to read books and you're all going to do all of you, every swinging dick in this room. But you don't have to. But now, what are you going to fill the day up with? If you don't procrastinate and study and... It's like I've got guys, he just died a couple years ago, that graduated from high school with me in 1963 that were still going to university in 2003. Still going to school. They had a couple of PhDs, a master's in this and an MBA, and then when there was no more degrees to get, then they just went to school for the experience. And you can go to school and not get a grade. I forget what it's called, where you just sit in the class, you audit the class. 20 years of fucking audit in university courses. Never had a job. Came to the 50-year reunion, high school reunion, looking like a fucking, well, they don't call them hippies anymore, but you know what I mean, you know. Who's that? And he says, oh, that's so-and-so. What's he here for? We graduated together in 1963. But why? You may not decide to follow this. But why would you read a book, a podcast, other than fill up time? Why don't you learn how to play the violin? Can you teach them how to play the violin? Can you teach them? I mean, can you learn how to play the violin? Oh, they tell me it's hard when you get old. I don't know. I can play chopsticks on the piano. I learned that about 15 years ago. Ding, 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 ding. That's it. Okay. But, so I just wanted you to know the spreadsheeters do make it. This took, I think, 8 or 9 years. 8 or 9 years. 600 hours, Nigeria. This is what you're going to get.
QLA mentees, I'm going to share with you one of the best practices that will give you access to...
But he tells you how to use LinkedIn the right way.
That's on our gigs there.
No! Everybody but yours. Yours is the... Every sorry bastard, anybody that's any Latino blood in them, we took it out. We took it out because I want to discriminate, okay? We took it out of all the black bloods, too, and all Asian. If you're a straight-up white man with nothing else in you, you got it. You're okay? But otherwise, you didn't get shit, you know. Yeah, you get it. But I mean, but why did he do that? He's a pleaser. I didn't ask him to do it. He spent several hours doing it. Why would you do that and send it to me for the benefit of all the other? Now, if he was going to get 2% or 0.5%, everything, but he didn't ask for that. He didn't want anything like that. He's a Canadian Muslim, which that doesn't mean anything, but he's a Canadian Muslim. So, I said this yesterday. Warren says, look for 3 things in a person: intelligence, energy, and integrity. If they don't have the last, integrity, forget all the rest. Okay, so you saw the guy. What are the takeaways from the SEAL from last night, other than never giving up? Yes, sir.
He kind of preached to himself. You're going to the beach. Get up and go.
Correct. This morning I listened to myself, as I do in preparation for today. I cried for 20 minutes listening to myself. I love my fucking voice. I mean, I had tears running down my cheeks. Fuck, that's dynamite. Fuck, Dan, you are the best that ever lived. You are the greatest of all motherfucking time. My first wife and Sally would say that we worship the ground Dan walks on. We love him to death. But his love, our love for him is transitory compared to his love for himself. So as much as, and that's why the nastier I am, the more people that love me. Because nobody loves Dan Peña more than Dan Peña. Nobody. Not even God. I love my shit. I love my piss. I love the scar tissue on my body. And I've had over 30 surgeries. I wish my dick was 6 inches longer, but that's a whole... but I still love my dick. I just wish it was 6 inches longer, you know? I wish it looked like my forearm. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But other than that, I still love that little fucker, you know, but I just wish it looked like this. You're going to have these tools. You're going to have these tools, and when you listen, you know, and there's a section, what did you do to waste time? And you put down 7 hours. 7 hours. That's not in a week, it's in a day. There's 24 hours in a day. And you go, fuck, maybe he's right, the old man's right. Maybe I am a worthless piece of shit. I mean, maybe I am retarded. I got to go check back, and maybe I better. And don't go out and take another IQ test, because I don't want to scare you. And don't go out and take a testosterone test. Some of you will be suicidal, because you don't have any. Testosterone peaks out at 26 years of age, more or less, plus or minus 5%. And by the time you're 70, you virtually have no testosterone left. Zero. I told you my testosterone is 1900. And the average in this room is probably 300, 400. Maybe for you real fucking studs, you might have 600. Mine's 1800. Unaided. You should kill yourself. Okay, YouTube, thank you. Okay.